I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. You're watching on Facebook, Dream Chasers Radio, as well as my private page, Yaya Diamond. You're also watching on Instagram. You're watching on LinkedIn, YouTube, and all different other kind of places. I am just so thankful that you guys are joining with us today to go over health. This seems to be like the biggest topic that we've been chasing in the last few weeks, especially since COVID and all different kinds of other different things that are going on. And then we have the flu system to top it all off. So my name is Yaya and I am your host. And hey, we do have a wonderful guest today. And I just want to go ahead and remove myself real quick. Mr. Martin is on the show and he's going to be talking about his products and not only that, a few other different things. So welcome to the show, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's so good to have you. Oh, such a blessing.
Thank you.
Awesome. So okay. So you do have your health thing, but tell me how you got started because I know you're from North Carolina, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so tell me how it happened.
So do you want me to talk about what I've been doing for the past 18 years or you want to go straight into the health product?
Let's talk about how you got into it because that journey is always just like so interesting to me.
Right. So long story short, I got into I'm a country boy, as Miss Yaya said. I'm from North Carolina and I grew up working on my grandparents' farm. I was raised to work by the job and not by the hour. So long story short, my father had 2 terminal battles with cancer. He had his first terminal battle with cancer back when I was in the 4th grade. And the doctors gave him about 6 months to live because he had cancer in his right eye and it started spreading to his brain. And, that was a lot to endure as a child. I was, like I said, in the 4th grade. And my dad was like I said, we were country boys. So he raised me by the Bible and, the rod to drive the foolishness out of a child. So that's how I was raised. A lot of people don't know nothing about that this day and age. So I remember when my dad was battling that first battle with cancer, he couldn't discipline me and raise me the way he wanted to because he was actually fighting for his life. Like I said, the doctors gave him 6 months to live. The cancer started spreading and it started spreading to his brain. But my father was a praying man. He had a great, phenomenal relationship with God. And he made a covenant with God. And God spoke to him and told him to get his right eye removed. And he did. And when he had his right eye removed, all the cancer was gone. The doctors told my dad at that time that the cancer would come back years later, but they didn't know when. So to fast forward all through my childhood, my dad, he bounced back, but he wasn't quite 100 like he was before that first battle with cancer. So I just thank God that I'm very fortunate to have had my father as long as I have, because, if I hadn't had him, I'd been lost. I was kind of like a Black Dennis the Menace growing up. A lot of school teachers, they remember me. I did good schoolwork, but I just kept something going. So I'm glad that my dad had his hand on me to, help keep me out of trouble and help guide me. So to fast forward, that was his first battle with cancer. And just like the doctor said, years later, the cancer returned. And this time it returned back in his lungs. Now, mind you, my dad was I grew up, I had to go to church every Wednesday and Sunday till I was 19. I didn't have a choice. So, growing up in the South, in the countryside of North Carolina, religion is real big. There's churches, quite a few churches. And, we had to go to vacation Bible school, Bible study on Wednesday. Then back then you had Sunday school, then a Sunday service. And then sometimes you had a Sunday evening service. So a lot of my weeks growing up, I spent in the church. So that's how my mother and father raised me and my brother, which I have no regrets at all. But the fast forward, just like the doctor said, the cancer did come back about 15 years later. And keep in mind, like I said, my dad was a very spiritual man. He was a very godly man. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. And sure enough, 15 years later, the cancer came back. But this time it came back in his lungs. So We were all baffled. It caught us by surprise. And I'll never forget, um, my dad, he developed this cough, kind of a unique cough. And my mother said, you should go get that checked out. So I'm glad
Mhm.
that he did. So he went and got a TB skin test.
Mhm.
And the TB test, it came back a triple positive. Like it was like literally a little mountain on top of his arm. So they ran more tests and found out he had lung cancer. So
Mm.
long story short, he lasted about 9 months from that lung cancer diagnosis. And during that time, I was young. I was 23, well, 22, about to turn 23. And, it was very a different time for me because back then, I was trying to go to college. I was trying to play sports. I was trying to pledge Omega Psi Phi. I was getting ready to go online to be a Q dog. So I had my own hopes and dreams of things that I wanted to do. But
Mhm.
like I said, my mother and my father reached out to me, asked me if I could come back home to kind of help assist with things
Right.
because it was just getting too much on my mother with her having to
Mm.
work and then get my dad to all these appointments because his health was declining pretty quick.
Mhm.
So I'll never forget. I knew my father was sick, but I'll never forget that day of December the 18th, 1999. I came home from college. I had packed up because the semester ended. I had packed up my little Jeep and I came home. And as soon as I got home good, my mother and brother, they took off and went to the store because they didn't want to leave my dad unsupervised. So I was there with my dad and I knew he was sick, but I didn't have any idea he was this sick. So he had an attack where he started vomiting and he
Mm.
wouldn't stop. And this went on for like 20, maybe 20 plus minutes. And
Mm.
at the time, I'm an ex powerlifter. I was a kid that got bullied growing up. So when I got
Mhm.
in high school, I started working out extensively.
Mhm.
So at the time, I was 6'4", solid 265.
Wow.
I was benching close to 500. Like I was just
Mhm.
man. There was plenty of guns in the house because again, I'm a country boy, and I just felt helpless. There was nothing I could do
Wow.
to help my dad. So I just broke down like a baby, and I just started crying because I looked up to my dad like a superhero.
Mhm.
He was a very, very gifted individual. He was valedictorian all through high school, all through college. He had 3 degrees, just a brilliant man. I had a dream dad. So to see him, this big, huge man, like come down to this, it disturbed me. It was a traumatic experience. And
Yeah.
so I'll never forget. All I could do was sit there and cry. So I called 911 and the ambulance came and they took him to the hospital. But that day is when I realized how sick my dad was.
Mm.
So the fast forward things, I almost didn't come back home because I was supposed to try to pledge that spring. When you're young and it's all exciting and stuff to be in college and in the pledge and the fraternity. So, like I said, I had things I wanted to do. I had a little girlfriend at the time. So
Mhm.
it was hard for me to just pack up and leave the college I was attending.
Right.
But I thank God I did. I thank God Almighty I did. I made the right decision. So I came back home, and just like my mother said, I was there pretty much helping my dad go to all his doctor's appointments. But little did I know, what I was really there for was to witness him going through the dying process. Those were his last days.
Mm.
So I came home on December the 18th, 1999. I'll never forget it as long as I live. My father, he ended up passing February the 9th in a Kitty Askins Hospice Center. So he didn't even make it 2 months from the time I made it home. And he died in my arms. I'm the one that closed his eyes in that Kitty Kitty Askins Hospice Center. And I'll never
Mm.
forget one of my uncles, rest in peace, he's passed away. I'll never forget my uncle came to see my dad in January of 2000. He came to see him at the start of January. Then he came back to see my dad again at the end of January. And this is what my Uncle Ray said. He said, it looks like my brother George has aged a year a day. My
Mm.
daddy literally looked from looking 50 years old, the 1st of January, to 80 years old, the end of January.
Mm.
And I was there watching that metamorphosis and those changes take place. And it just did something to me. I thank God I'm
Yeah.
stronger now because for years, I'll admit I battled depression because I watched my best friend go through that. Like that was my hero.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt love like that at all since he's been gone.
Mm.
So, long story short, that's how this product line came about. It came about pretty much. I took a negative and turned it into a positive.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's death is what sparked me. So let me back up a little bit. So when I was in college, before I came home in December,
Mm-hmm.
this is what happened. I had a very attentive college professor. And I was attending class, participating, submitting my work and stuff on time. And I'll never forget one day after lecture, he pulled me to the side and he said, "Martin, are you okay?" He was like, "You don't seem to be all the way here."
Mm-hmm.
He said, something's different about you. So I sat down at the class and I told my college professor what was going on. Because the beautiful thing about it, where I was in college at was only an hour away from where I'm from, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. So I was back and forth anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, long story short, after the professor pulled me to the side, he just wanted to find out what was going on with me. So I told him what was going on with my dad. And while I was talking to him, he just got quiet. Then all of a sudden he said, "I have something for you that'll really help your dad out." And he said, "When we come to class the next time, I'm going to bring it." So I said, "Okay." And he was just very confident. Like you could just look at the expression on his face. Like he was old school. He was an older
Mm-hmm.
gentleman. So, I knew he knew what he was talking about. 'Cause, most people that are old are very wise, especially him. He was a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, sure enough, the next lecture, he brought me what was then, I didn't know what it was. It was a big bag of medicinal herbs. So he told me to take them home, have your dad boil it in a tea, and take it. I forget the instructions. Like I said, this was 20 plus years ago. So anyway, I rushed home that weekend. I gave the herbs to my dad, and I told my dad the instructions and how to take them. And I was like, "Dad, the professor said these herbs should really, really help you out." So I just gave them to my dad, and I just kind of left them. So I honestly had forgot about them. I thought
Mm.
my dad was taking them the whole time. So long story short, after he passed away on February 9th, shortly after that, maybe a week or so after the funeral, me and my brother, we had the task of, putting the house back in order because we turned downstairs into a hospice room. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
my dad was so weak he couldn't even get up and down the stairs.
Mm.
So anyway, in the midst of putting everything back in order, setting my mom's house back up, and cleaning out a lot of my dad's old stuff, um, the thing is, I came across that big bag of herbs, and it was
Mm-hmm.
untouched. And that
Mm.
day, a seed was planted. And I always ask myself, what would have happened if Dad had a just taken these herbs?
My goodness.
And that like they were just sitting there untouched. So that's the day that a seed was planted. So, moving forward throughout my journey, I'm what's called a qualified mental health professional. I've been owning mental health clinics and residential facilities now for the past 18 years.
Mm.
So in the midst of me, having my fun in my younger day, I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta now, and I definitely took advantage of the Atlanta nightlife and the Atlanta scene, uh, as we all have. So
Yeah.
in the back office of me having fun, I educated myself. I became very familiar with a gentleman, as we all know, as Dr. Sebi. Some say Dr. Sebi. And I started following his work along with a few other great master herbalists. And I just became intrigued. And I always remembered that bag of herbs, and it led me on a quest seeking answers.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been in the Evergreens climate. I've been in the Amazon. Um, where else have I been? I broke bread with different shamans. I actually have lived with the indigenous people for a couple of weeks just to study how they live off the land, and they're more of a natural type of way of living, like no
Mm-hmm.
pharmaceutical drugs, no processed foods. Like
Right.
they didn't even have plates and forks. They ate off banana leaves with your hand.
Wow.
So that was a very interesting experience. But along my way, I met some very influential master herbalists and slash doctors who believe in more of a natural way of healing and a natural way of doing things. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just became intrigued, and that's how this product line came about.
Wow. Wow. And I'm so sorry about your dad, you know.
I'm just glad because this about 5 years ago, I'd probably be crying right now, but God has
Yeah.
blessed me to get a lot stronger over the years. So I thank God for divine growth.
Yeah, you know, I had my biological father, and then I had my stepfather. And my biological father, he passed away 3 years ago, and then my stepfather passed away from COVID last year, November. So it's been
Oh,
just
wow.
1 year. And he did have cancer. And that's pretty much why he wasn't able to recuperate from the COVID, because when he got
Right.
COVID, he wasn't able to. So this here, that's just, I have to go back a little bit in your story. You
Yes,
said
ma'am.
that you gave your father the herbs. If he had have taken it, maybe it would have made a difference, but we don't know.
We
So
don't
you
know.
developed this because you wanted to make sure that people took it and that they had the opportunity to actually heal themselves. And how is that going now?
Well, so I I created the product line, in my father's honor, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to be very careful with this day and age of making false claims and saying certain things.
Right.
There's all type of rumors where holistic doctors have disappeared because of foul play and this and that. But
Wow.
at the end of the day, the great Dr. Sebi kind of paved the way. It's unfortunate that he passed away or he was murdered. We really don't know.
Right.
But he paved the way and opened the gateway for people to become more receptive to natural ways of healing.
Mm-hmm.
There's always two ways, there's man's way and a God's way. I personally prefer God's way. I don't like to take man's way unless I absolutely have to, if nothing else
Right.
is working. That's just my personal preference, but everybody has their own preference.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, this product line, I partnered up with a holistic scientist, and not just to take anything from the great Dr. Sebi. The gentleman that I work with, I work with several gentlemen. Some of them are retired scientists, retired surgeons, um, medicinal authors, holistic practitioners,
Mm-hmm.
master herbalists. So it's quite a few that I've collaborated with on this product line. So
Wow.
in the product line as a whole, there's actually 18 different formulas that we have in our possession right now.
Mm.
And to be honest with you, I actually launched the company originally back in 2017, and it started out pretty good. It was a good hit. The problem is people got a little confused because I launched 8 products instead of one,
Mm-hmm.
and all of our products and things. That's one good thing about me being in the mental health field. I'm a stickler for compliance.
Right.
In the mental health clinic, you always have to be prepared for that knock at the door, that
Right.
expected knock at the door, because I've been harassed and bullied by auditors for the past 18 years, so I'm used to it. So I'm
Mm.
a stickler for triple dotting my I's and triple crossing my T's.
Mm-hmm.
So I say all that to say that I made a mistake. Well, it wasn't a mistake. It was a learning curve. I launched
Mm-hmm.
18 formulas the first time, and I should only launch one because the products are written in FDA compliant. Like for instance, let's just say we have a diabetes formula. You can't
Okay.
mention the word diabetes on the bottle. You have
Mm-hmm.
to say things like supports a healthy glucose level,
Mm-hmm.
or let's say you there's a formula that helps somebody kidneys build back up. You can't mention the word kidneys or renal or anything like that. You have to say things like will aid and assist in the healthy bladder function.
Right.
So the beautiful thing about this product line is I have 3 FDA consultants who helped me put this project together.
Mm-hmm.
And we also manufacture the products in an FDA compliant facility. We went with the best. The
Okay.
gentleman who manufactures our products also manufactures products for Walgreens, Walmart, Vitamin Shop, GNC. Like, he's the best. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned that quality measure again from being in the mental health field so long, passing all these audits all these years. I just learned. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I had some phenomenal teachers. But the product line right now, we're only launching one formula. We like I said, I shut the company down back in 17. I had some negative energy around it. I had a few people that, they meant well, but I think they started counting the money before we started making it, and it just kind of created some problems. So I just decided to shut it down and refocus on getting my clinics built back up. So last summer, God gave me a sign to relaunch the product line after shutting it down for about 4 years. And he put on my heart to launch just one formula that I have in my arsenal now. We only have one formula that we're selling right now. But like I said, there's 18 altogether. But this formula that we have is powerful. It's actually a game changer. Yes, ma'am.
So, okay.
I'm sorry.
No. It's good. It's good because people need to know that, I mean, there is a progress to certain things.
Right.
And because we got all of this stuff, we don't really necessarily need to confuse people by giving it all to them all at once.
Right.
So literally what you did was you launched and you backed up, and now you're launching this one product, which is a game changer. You got to tell me what the game changer is, because now you left me on a cliff and I'm about to jump off and I have no safety net.
Okay. So what this, with COVID, there's different strands of COVID. Let's just first and say that's just not one strand.
Okay.
And we don't know really what's all out here right now. We really have no clue. All I can tell you is there's something out there because I actually caught it. And like one thing about me being in and out of these clinics all these years, I work with people who are homeless, who are in and out of the streets. So I'm exposed to stuff all the time.
Right.
So I actually felt the power of this formula. This is true stories. God is my witness. I caught the flu virus back in 2017, and it was pretty bad. I remember having the aches, the joint pain, the chills as I was going up the steps of my house. And so I immediately popped 2 of them. I just popped 2 pills and I laid down. And 4 to 6 hours later, I got up and I used the bathroom, and excuse my language, but I had that kind of like that drunken pee. You drink a little bit, you just pee along for long bouts of time. So that's what happened. I urinated for about 2 minutes, and I was like, "Good God, what in the world?" So then I went back to my bed, and the bed was actually covered in sweat. But what I noticed was all my flu symptoms were gone. The only thing I did the following day, I just coughed up large amounts of mucus and phlegm. But this product pretty much eliminated the influenza-like symptoms that I had in 4 to 6 hours.
Oh my goodness!
So I knew that I had a phenomenal product in my possession. So the challenge was I didn't know what it would do with people who were suffering from COVID or who were at risk for COVID, who had COVID. So I tried it on myself. So I tracked my symptoms. I know where I did the tracing that they say. I know exactly who gave me COVID. And let me just say this, the strand of COVID that I had about 5 months ago was the strand that was before the Delta variant. It was actually COVID mixed with pneumonia, and it was taking people out. I'm just going to be honest with you. So the beautiful thing is I had a few of the components of the formula, but I didn't have the whole formulation. I only had parts of it. So long story short, I was taking parts of the formula up until day 5. And day 5, like I said, I tracked my symptoms. It started with a scratchy, itchy throat. But then on day 5, I felt the symptom that actually scared me. It felt like somebody took a baseball bat and beat me across my back from the top to the bottom. And I've never felt that symptom before. So when I reached out, by me, again, being in the medical field, in the mental health field, I have access to quite a few doctors and practitioners, all types of people. I got like 1,500 numbers in my phone.
Wow.
So anyway, I picked up the phone and started calling. And 2 of my doctor buddies told me, they said, "Mr. Martin, what was about to happen to you was your lungs were becoming compromised. You were about to start having shortness of breath. Your lungs were getting ready to start filling up with fluid." And that was the pneumonia piece of it. So long story short, that formula came that Wednesday morning, and I'll never forget. I started taking the max dose, which is 6 capsules. I took 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, and 2 at night. I did that all day Wednesday and Thursday, and by Friday, I was almost back 100. All I did Friday evening was just coughed up all that mucus and phlegm.
Oh my gosh!
So I'm not against vaccines. Everybody has their own preference and their own choice of the way they want to do things. But this formula is phenomenal to take. So you take the formula 2 ways.
Okay.
You take it every day as a just a way to keep your immune system at peak. Like this
Mhm.
stuff does something amazing in the body because it constantly rejuvenates your immune system. And think about it, if you're constantly working on improving your immune system, other systems in the body are going to get better as well. And that's
Right.
what the formula does. So you take it two ways. Like I said, you take one every day just to keep for ongoing immune support. But then two, if you have an imbalance, if you feel like something's coming on, like if you feel achy joints or you feel a
Mhm.
scratchy throat, you need to immediately start taking two.
Mhm.
Because, again, I'm not preaching against vaccines. Everybody has their own individual choice and their own decision to make.
Right.
But however, I will tell you, this product has been very successful in working with the vaccinated and the unvaccinated.
Mhm.
And case in point, I hope my mother don't get mad at me, but my mother is older. She's in her 70s. She took both vaccines, and something jumped on her and she couldn't shake it. I don't know if it was COVID. I'm not going to speak on what it was because we don't know. But I will tell you, she was struggling to breathe. She had a lot of congestion. She had some achiness. And because she has pre-existing conditions, she
Mhm.
went and started taking the over-the-counter called a Coricidant. And,
Mhm.
Coricidant is used for people who have high blood pressure and diabetes because it's a little bit safer. It's a little bit less harsh on your body and your liver than, let's say,
Right.
a NyQuil and other things are. So
Mhm.
she was trying that and a few other things, and she just couldn't shake it.
Mm.
But my mother's one of those old school type that goes to the doctor for everything. And I kept telling my mom, I was like, Mom, you just try this formula, just try it and
Right.
see. I'm telling you, it will help you. So sure enough, after she exhausted all her other resources, she tried the product.
Mm.
So in about 2.5, 3 days max, she was back 100. And now she takes it every day religiously.
Mm.
And so this is when you know you have a phenomenal product.
Right.
So I have buddies who have had COVID and they beat it.
Mm.
But they still had the aftermath, the achy joints, the congestion,
Right.
just low energy, the lack of taste. They, even though they weren't technically positive, they still had the symptoms lingering on. So
Mhm.
they started taking this formula and they were taking anywhere between 2 to 4 a day. Anyway, in about 3 days, they were back 100.
Mm.
And this is when you know you have a flagship product. So
Yeah.
each bottle contains 60 capsules.
Mhm.
Most people, when they try a product, they buy one bottle, and within a week, they come back and they buy 7, 8, 9. I even had one guy buy 10 bottles.
Okay.
So it is a flagship
Wow.
product.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
because I know I have a lot of people, and I know a lot of people with cancer. Does this help their immune system as well? Because I know that chemotherapy can wreak havoc on the body, and I'm not trying to tell people to not do chemo. What I'm saying is, can it help them to kind of like boost their immune system and kind of like help fight and get their bodies a little bit more rugged so that they can endure what's coming up for them?
Right. So that's a good question. So let's look at this formulation for a minute.
Hmm.
So this formula is very unique. There are a few other great formulas that's out on the market, but to me, nothing touches this. What this formula does, as I stated earlier, when you're constantly rebuilding your immune system, other
Hmm.
systems in the body are going to get better as well. So
Right.
this is what I tell people. I tell them to purchase a bottle, try it out, and I also tell them to Google the ingredients.
Hmm.
And so this particular formula has 12 different ingredients consisting of medicinal plants, seeds, and herbs. And it's very powerful. So to answer your question, it does have anti-cancer properties as well as anti-diabetic properties as well.
Mm.
So it will help them. Now, will it cure them? I can't say that,
Right,
but
right.
it will definitely help them because again, it's this product constantly rebuilds and corrects your immune system. And I'm
Mhm,
gonna tell you something. So I'm personally not vaccinated.
mhm.
I will admit it. I'm scared. I'm a little hesitant. I think some years of research and time needs to pass before I consider it. But what I do is I take 1 to 2 every day.
Mhm.
And I travel. I'm in and out of airports all the time. I've
Yeah.
been out of the country probably about 5 times since the
Wow.
COVID scare. And so this is how you know the product's working. So I'll take one a day, and I feel amazing. You can't tell anything's going on. But then all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, let's say maybe 8 or 9 days out the blue, all of a sudden I'll start coughing up mucus and phlegm. And what this product is doing is that's letting you know the product is still working. It's keeping things at bay from your body. And it's expelling. If you follow the great Dr. Sebi, he said that excessive mucus is linked to all diseases. And what this product does, it helps rid the body of that extra mucus and phlegm. And that's how I know it's working. Because like I said, I'll go days and I don't feel anything. I feel amazing, good energy, mental clarity. But then all of a sudden out of the blue, I'll start coughing up mucus and phlegm out of nowhere. It's not a lot, but that lets me know I got exposed to something.
Right.
And my body has automatically went to a fighting position to fight it off.
Yeah. It's important that we all keep our immune system up. And you're right. Because think about it this way. You're feeling great and all of a sudden you start coughing up that mucus. What if you weren't coughing up that mucus?
It's staying in the body.
Exactly.
Like Dr. Sebi said, it's linked to other diseases. Excessive mucus.
Yep, definitely. So my gosh. Okay, so you've done so many different things. There's so many different testimonies out there, and I know that we have one person that's going to be coming on and talking about their battle and how this product helped them. But before we get to that client, man, I just have one more question for you.
Yes,
when people purchase this, do you have like any specials coming up or anything like that? I know I've been putting up the website. It's progressingbodies.com. But do you have any, occasionally any sales, or do you have anything that would, kind of help people to purchase at a good time?
Right. Well, let me say this. At first, I was going to keep it exclusive like Louis Vuitton. They never put anything on sale. So I feel
that's why I don't have a Louis Vuitton.
Well, let me say this. It's exclusive, just like Louis Vuitton. I will say that. I stand by this product 200%. And like I said, the testimonials are slowly getting out more and more. Each day, more and more people are talking about it. So to answer your question, I have decided, me and my lady, we decided to do a Black Friday and a Cyber Monday sale. So the product is already priced affordable anyway. I'm not trying to price gouge. I'm out here really trying to help people, because there are other great immune boosting formulas on the market. Let me say that they are. And all of them are very similar, but some pack a little bit more punch than others, and that's what this one does. But most of the products are loaded in elderberry, just like my product. Right. But there's different strands and different types of elderberry. A lot of people don't know that. Black elderberry seems to be the most potent, and this formula is loaded in black elderberry along with quite a few other things. So to answer your question, we will do a sale this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and end of Monday, where we'll knock $10 off. So it will be $24.99 versus $34.99. But like I said, even at $34.99 for 60 capsules,
that's amazing.
You can't beat that.
No.
Now, I will say this. It is getting more difficult to get raw materials to put these formulas together. And we all know, let's be honest, we all know that inflation is at an all-time high for the first time in 31 years, I think they say. Yeah. So I do anticipate the price going up in the future. I'm gonna have to, because raw materials and what it takes to manufacture this thing. Like I said, I went to the best of the best. Like I said, it's GNC Vitamin Shop quality. It ain't the type of label when your hands are wet and the ink starts sliding off of it and stuff. It's not going to do that. It's some quality paper and quality labeling and quality packaging, because again, you're putting this stuff in people's body. Right. And this stuff is just amazing. That's all I'm going to say.
I got you. Man, I tell you, it is such a wonderful thing to have someone that's so concerned about the body, about, going after this. Now, the biggest thing I was thinking about, you were talking about your mother and how you gave her the product and you told her to take it and she didn't take it. I'm so happy she took it.
I'm glad too.
I'm so happy she did, because then now it doesn't repeat itself You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's great. And so just the whole thing of just being there, being able to develop this product, what are your next goals for your company and the next product that you're going to be launching? I have to ask.
So as I mentioned earlier, there's 18 formulas altogether. So the next move, like I mean, all the time I get harassed into trying to turn the company into an MLM, multi-level marketing company.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some reservations about that because a lot of these MLMs are very misleading. You only eat really good at a certain tier, but then when you come in at another tier, you're not doing nothing but feeding the upline. So
Mm-hmm.
I could not, shame my father's legacy or be a disgrace as to what he stood for, knowing that I'm out here lying to people, telling them they're going to be a 6 and 7 figure earner when I know that's mathematically impossible.
Yeah.
It is possible at a certain tier. Let
Mm-hmm.
me be clear.
Right.
But I hired a mathematical engineer to break
Mm-hmm.
down the comp plans because I did entertain the idea. So I'm glad you asked me that. So what I see happening is we're getting ready to launch a distributor platform
Oh,
where people can
nice.
become their own individual distributor. And what that's going to do is I'm setting up the platform to where people will be able to make 50% of the earnings per unit, and I think that's a pretty good return. And like I said, we're gonna have to increase the price in the future. It's just a matter of time because again, inflation and it's harder to get raw materials.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I have a relationship with some really, really great medicinal plant farmers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see it being a problem getting the raws. It's just getting them over here and getting them manufactured for production.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow. And so I'm looking forward to having that, come online because
Yeah,
there might be a lot of people that can actually benefit from that as well
right.
as your company. What are your suggestions for people who want to start something or they want to do what you've done and they don't have your education, but they just have that zeal. Somebody, inspired them like your dad inspired you. What kind
Right.
of advice do you give to them?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Miss Yaya, because we're living in a day and age where people are just lost. That's just the bottom line. People are just lost. They don't have no clue, no direction. They didn't have no great mentors, no great teachers growing up. And I see them all the time, with patients that I treat, especially a lot of the kids who have all these behavior issues. And a lot of it just stems from not having both parents in the home or both active parents. So what I encourage people to do is if you keep having dreams and visions of you doing something, that's kind of God giving you a sign that you might need to start moving. So what I strongly suggest you do is you try to mentor under or follow people who are doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Right.
They've already got the blueprint. They can tell you. See what people don't see, even with the mental health clinics the past 18 years. I do consulting on the side where I help people get started.
Okay.
I have been hit with every scenario that you can be hit with in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And only thing it has done is made me stronger. I'm bigger. I'm wiser. I'm better. That's all it did, and I'm able to prevent a lot of other people who I mentor from making the mistakes that I made.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I strongly suggest people that they find someone that's doing what they want to do, who are very successful at it. I suggest you get a pen and pad, even a tape recorder, if you can. Try to see if they will mentor you, or follow them, or start taking classes, and that's the clear way to get to that point you want to be.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow. Taking classes and actually being mentored, that's hard. Everybody's busy right now, but you can do this. You can do this. Definitely.
Right.
I want to thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, we just, it's an amazing thing that you've done. I mean, putting together chemicals and well, herbs are chemicals. Just
Right.
going to go there. They're
Medicinal,
just
yeah.
natural. They're
Right.
natural,
Right.
but they're still
Well,
chemicals.
let me say this:
Uh-huh.
60% of all prescription drugs are derived from medicinal plants.
Mm.
So remember that. So you're absolutely right. And let me say this too, because I get this question a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, as I mentioned earlier, it's a great product whether you're vaccinated or you're unvaccinated.
Right.
Just something great to have. I got people who are double vaccinated and also have taken the boosters. They still love the product because let me say this, and I'm gonna be quiet. I noticed when I travel out the country, they treat the unvaccinated and the vaccinated the exact same. They still make you take a PCR test. It's just that if you're unvaccinated, you have to take it now within 24 hours. But if you are vaccinated, if you're unvaccinated, you have to take it within 24 hours. But if you're vaccinated, you have to still show a negative PCR test within 72 hours. So think about it. If you're vaccinated and you still having to take a PCR test, that means you can still be a carrier of the virus.
Right.
What it does is just shortens your stay in the hospital and prevents you from dying. Well, I'm just going to let you try this product and see for yourself what it'll do for you. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. And I mean, if like you said, I'm not against people getting the vaccine. I'm not for people getting the vaccine. It is their decision.
Your choice.
And it's your choice. And I have nothing against people who did and who didn't. I really don't care. But what I'm thinking about is your health, your children, your family members who are going to miss you. We can do all we can to boost up our deficiencies. Because I think this was an attack of the immune system because of the deficiencies in our eating habits.
Right.
And our lack of the vitamin D, because most people are home now. You got to get outside. You got to take your supplements. You got to, and people eating these fast foods, lack of vitamin, C and just chlorophyll. I mean, just all different kinds of things that are just lacking from our bodies to depreciate the immune system. And I do have a guest on this that's coming on to talk about her experience. It's Nikki Perham. She's coming on to talk about how, her experience with the product. So let's get her on. Hello. Okay, so you're gonna have to unmute your mic because we can't hear you. And there you go. So unmute your mic. There you go. Hi, Nikki.
Thank you for having me. Hi, how
no
are you?
problem.
Hey, Miss Nikki, how you doing?
Hi. Hey, thank you so much for having me. Hey, Mr. Martin.
Hey.
I'm really glad to be able to be here to talk about my experience.
Yes, please do. Okay, go ahead. We're gonna put you out front here. Yeah.
I don't want to be in the hot seat.
No, you look great. Go ahead, do your thing, girl. Tell everybody how it helped you and how it saved your life.
So this has been a rough year because I lost 2 family members this year. One, they said it was COVID. It could have been something else. My mother-in-law had kidney issues and all. And then my other cousin, we lost him to cancer. As a matter of fact, he passed away November 17th last year. So I was already depressed and stressed out throughout the year, right? So I pulled into January of 2021 severely depressed, right? And so, but we had managed to stay away from flu symptoms until August. And a friend of mine that I went to grad school with, and we're still very close, she called me and told me about, one of her colleagues and said that he had a product that really works for the immune system. And I thought that was fantastic because I was considering putting my kids in the summer camp program because they had been shut in all year. They were homeschooling all year. They were eager to get out of the house. So now it's summertime. And although it's warm all year in Florida, they still wanted to do something for the summer. I wanted to give them something to look forward to for the summer, right? So I said, great, I'll put them on an immune boosting supplement so that they won't get sick. Because this particular program required them to wear a mask indoors, and it was at a community center. But when they go out to play and they go out, they don't have to wear a mask. So I said, well, because I refuse to vaccinate them. And so I figured let them have a product that's going to get their immune system strong while they're in summer camp, right? So that's what happened. So it worked out great because my kids never got sick the whole summer, okay? So then what happened was my husband came home, wasn't feeling well. At his job, they require mask mandate and mandatory temperature checks. As soon as you walk in, you have to put your forehead against the thing and it checks your temperature, right? So I figured they're doing safety protocols at work. I never thought he would come home with COVID, but he did. He got sick. So we went to the kids' award ceremony where they had a business plan competition, and it was the last day of camp, and they catered it, and it was wonderful. So we had a really nice last day of camp, but he wasn't feeling good. But he came anyway because he didn't want to miss their event. My kids won in the business plan competition, so he wanted to be there for that, right? So, but that evening when he came home, so camp is over, he came home and he was sick, fever, chills. He wasn't himself. And so I was laying in bed and he just came and laid next to me. Normally he'll fall asleep on the couch, especially if he's watching a good show. But he came and laid next to me. So I'm coddling him and all of that. And guess what? Then I got it. But I didn't get symptoms until about a day or two later. So I started feeling, regular cold symptoms. My nose is stuffy. And whenever I cough, I felt this burning pain in my chest. And it got progressively worse. And then my husband got progressively worse. And so this went on for like a week. Like, it was horrible. And then the week after that, it was even worse. Here's the problem. The freaking product was sitting on my night table the whole time.
Oh my God.
But I didn't take it because I said, this is just for the kids. And I wanted them to keep taking it. And they would wear a mask if they came into our room. But they had to, in shifts, take turns resting and bringing us. They had to stay on top of us. They had to bring us ice and water and ice and water and ice and water. We had to order food from Amazon and from Walmart delivery, and all we didn't desire to eat, but we wanted them. So they're 16 and 11, just so you know, we don't have little kids. And so they would cook and do everything. And so what happened was we were debilitated. So my husband, I took him to the emergency room because he had hit his head in the bathroom, and I wanted to get a scan, make sure he was okay. And so then they determined he had COVID, but they didn't test me because I just wanted them to focus on him. I didn't even ask about myself. And so they gave us a little thing to put on our finger to monitor our oxygen levels. And they said, if your oxygen level goes down below 80, 85%, come back. We refused to come back. So I would check my husband's temperature constantly, but not mine. And that's sometimes what a wife does. But I was sick and I was miserable. So here's the thing. He had the headaches. The room felt like it was spinning, and, the congestion and fever. But he didn't have the coughing and the pain and burning in chest. That's what I had. So our symptoms were different. But I know one thing. You can say we had bird flu, COVID, swine flu. It doesn't matter. We were sick. And we lost 15 something pounds in 2 weeks. My husband is 6'3", 225 pounds, solid, beautiful. He went down to 190 pounds. It was horrible. It was scary. Because what happened was a couple had died in their home with their teenagers in the home, supposedly of COVID. And when my husband showed me that article on his phone, that's when I got scared. And I just panicked. And that panic, I called Mr. Martin, and Mr. Martin said, Nikki, just take the supplement. I said, I kept it for the kids. He said, take it. You're going to be healed in 3 days. And I took it. Wow. But my husband wouldn't take it because he criticized me because I'm all about natural therapy, natural healing. And he criticized me for being he literally called me a naturalist. And you don't know what you're talking about. And he insulted me, and I got upset. I got emotional. When you're sick, you say things, you get outside of yourself. I wasn't thinking to not take him seriously because he was sick. He was miserable. His whole manhood, like, he couldn't take care of his family, right?
Yeah.
So I got upset, and I was wrong. I should not have paid attention to that. I should have just kept on focusing on healing. So anyway, I took it 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the evening, and I drank tons of water. This is crazy. By the third day, I was out of bed because what happened was I felt weak. I had the chills, and you literally feel like you can't move. Have you ever? You can't move. With that sickness is incredible. So by the third day, I was able to get up and walk around my house. And I started opening windows. I started cleaning. That's how I knew I was healed, because I desired to clean. I washed linens, drapes, blinds. I went bananas. I went crazy cleaning, right? And I got my energy back. And I started dancing and blasting my music. And I was flirting with my husband and all that stuff, right? So once he saw that I was healed, Then he was willing to take the product. But it was just amazing how I experienced the healing. Like my energy, man, was restored. And the coughing, the burning, I felt like my lungs were scorched. The burning is so bad that you feel like there's got to be scar tissue from burning on your lungs. Like it burns. Every cough burns, but it stopped. I felt like I could breathe normal again. It was amazing. So then I went to my husband and I said, you can be mad at me, but you're going to heal. You're going to live. Right. You're going to do what I say. So this is what I did. When I started eating, because you don't desire food. So when I started eating again, I decided to just only plant-based stuff, quinoa, plant-based protein, salads, fruit, smoothies. My husband was throwing up. See, this is why I got scared, because he couldn't keep any food down and he was throwing up with nothing in his stomach. He couldn't stop throwing up. I didn't have the vomiting. He did. So when I got him to stop the vomiting and I got him to where he could hold down food, because this product started healing him. So this is what happened. He wouldn't take it. So you know what I did? I made him a slushie. I put 9 pieces of ice. You know, your refrigerator makes ice. I put just enough orange juice to cover the ice. And I opened the capsules, 2 of them, in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the, just like he told me to. And I put it in there and I made it slushies with the ninja. And so I made him drink it as a slushie. So he didn't even know I had put it in there. The stuff is so powerful that even if you dilute it in a smoothie, it still works. My husband started feeling better, started walking around the house, started going outside and breathing again. Like before you know it. So by the 3rd day of me doing that with him, he was in the backyard cutting the grass with our son, pulling, gathering leaves and whatever. That's how powerful this stuff is. I'm blown away because I thought I would lose him. And I had to call my father and tell him, if anything happens to us, I want you and your, my bonus mom, my wonderful Ia Sabrina, my father's wife. I said, I want you and her to take my kids. I was terrified. I wanted to make arrangements, because I didn't know what was going to happen to us. But once we got healed, forget about it. We're done. I know we have powerful antibodies because we're healed, but I'm telling you, right? So now here's the thing. Now it's so powerful. You don't have to take it every day. You can, but God, I felt restored. Got a gym membership after that. I got healed. I lost weight. It was amazing. Wow. It was amazing.
Wow.
I'm so thankful.
Wow.
And I had already heard about so many other people who have been healed from flu-like symptoms, severe symptoms. And so I wasn't surprised about that. I was just thankful to be alive. I was amazed at how good I felt after that.
Wow.
I don't even know what else to tell you.
Wow. Mr. Martin, how does that make you feel for this testimony? How does that make you feel?
I mean, it makes me feel good. I know this is a God-sent product. I know where its origin came from. And let me just say this, as I was bragging on my father earlier, he was very, very highly educated, intellectual. And he was working on a book in his last days before he got sick. And instead of me finishing the book, I created a product in his honor. And that's one of the products in the 18 as well. But to get to the point, it makes me feel good. But I've heard quite a few stories similar to that. And it just further validates the potency and the healing properties that these herbs bring.
Right.
I just thank God for it. He blessed me with this vision. He planted the seed in me. This was not by accident. This is the assignment that I'm supposed to carry out while I'm here on earth.
Yeah.
And I just love that it's a win-win. It really helps people. And it's also something that people like me, I'm busy. I work 65, 80 hours a week.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm constantly just popping one on the go. And I'm just glad I got it priced to where people can afford it, because if you were to break down and purchase each one of these herbs in this formula, you'd spend $300 to $400 easily.
Yeah.
So I've simplified it. We've simplified it to where you can get all this power right now for $34.99, and you can't beat it.
Right. That to me is amazing. Nikki, thank you so much for being on the show and for giving your testimony. And I'm so happy that your family and you are all safe and healthy again. Definitely,
Thank you
definitely.
so much. So
Thank
I'm the
you.
guru now around the house. Everybody trusts me. If I put turmeric in my husband's soup, he doesn't question it. He, you know what I'm saying? And I told so many of my family members too, because you got to have that power. You got to take your power back. When you're sick, your body is made to heal. You have a natural immune system.
Right.
And we have to support our bodies. And so many times with the typical American diet, we tax ourselves. We go against, we immunosuppress ourselves with sugar, especially around the holidays. Everybody's eating cakes, pies, and ding dongs and sweet potato,
Right.
this and that. And so why do you think everybody gets sick around this time? Because this is a big celebratory time of the year when everybody eats a lot of sugar and consumes a lot of alcohol. And so people don't understand the sugar can really suppress your immune system, right? And so
Yeah.
we have a responsibility to boost our immune systems as naturally as possible. And this product, I was blown away.
Yeah.
And I'm so
you're
thankful.
right. You're right about that. Sugar is a natural immunity suppressant.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And
It
getting
is.
off of sugar is going to be one of the most wonderful things that you could do for yourself. We literally, it is said that one person can eat over, what is it, 2 pounds of sugar a year or something like that,
Mhm.
or
Could be
more.
more.
It's
Yeah.
probably
Because that
more
doesn't
now.
include all the carbohydrates and fast food.
Yeah,
And
I think this
processed
is
food.
back in, this was a little bit further back. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's even up to 4 bags of sugar. Now you got all the coffees with sugar, the creamers with sugar, the carbs are with sugar, the ice creams and the cakes, and then you got
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
That's all I gotta
Yes.
say. It's like
Yeah.
a carb sugar mania,
Yeah.
Right. Right.
which makes
It
you
is.
sit down on the couch and what? Fall asleep.
Right. What?
The other thing I want to point out, I'm sorry, Mr. Martin.
No, go ahead.
This is a product that's not just for grown-ups. It's not just your own, it's safe for kids. And that's amazing because sometimes when you go get the vitamins at the departments at the stores, you have the kids section of vitamins and you have the adult section of vitamins. This is safe for everybody. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you may not give 2 capsules to a 9-month-old, maybe,
Right.
but just one is enough. And then even
Right.
if it's diluted, it is super powerful.
Wow, so you can actually blend it up into like maybe a homemade banana
Yes,
thing
you
for
can put it in
your little
anything.
kids, or carrots
Yes,
or something, kind of blend it together
yes,
and then give it to
it
them.
works.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Mr.
what I
Martin,
like
you were
about
going to say something?
Yeah, I was
I'm
going to get back
sorry.
to the sugar.
I'm
It's
gonna
okay.
talk too much.
I was going to get back to the sugar conversation.
Uh-huh.
Rule of thumb: a lot of people don't know. One of my classes in college, was a nutrition class, and a rule of thumb for adults: you want to limit your sugar intake to about 30 grams or less a day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know that because, like, if you drink one soda, you've superseded that by
Yes.
15 to 20 grams automatically.
Automatically.
Yeah.
So if you really watch your sugar intake, but it's been proven that sugar feeds cancer cells.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
And it's like I said, suppresses the immune system. That's been proven. So just I encourage everybody to really work on limiting your sugar intake. Like I said,
Right.
30 grams or less every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's
Yes.
all I had to say.
And I find that, and not to interrupt you guys, I know if you have something else to say, please do say it, because this is an amazing conversation. I find that when I do eat too many carbs, or if I eat sugar that day, I have a pain immediately somewhere in my body. I mean, it never fails. So I just literally took it out of my diet. Literally, I think the only thing that I'm really loving is toast. I love toast in the morning. And so I got a keto toast, which has like 8 grams of fiber per slice.
Right.
So that to me is wonderful because it just negates, it only has 2 grams of sugar, 2.
Right.
And so that's what I'm talking about. We really do need to look at the label. We really do need to take care of our bodies and kick the sugar habit. Definitely, definitely. Nikki, do you have anything else to say?
I would say if anybody's on the fence about, should I try? Should I not? Go into your cupboard and read the labels on the things that are in your cupboard
Mhm.
and Google some of those ingredients.
Hmm.
Because then you're going to be on the fence about those things. If you want to boost your immune system, if you want to heal, because if you want to heal yourself, you have something that's ailing you, that's bothering you. If you want to have that peace of mind that you're doing something that's good for you, then I don't see what the question is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just so thankful because I was so sick.
I
I
hear
was
you.
terrified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I order a bottle every month.
Mm. I hear you.
And I'm gonna say this, I'm not gonna lie. When I first found out I had COVID, I got scared for about 10 minutes. And I don't get scared easy. But I got really scared for about 10 minutes. But then I got in my head and I started doing that faith walking, that faith talk.
Mm-hmm.
No weapon formed against me shall prosper. God has not given me the spirit of fear, but a love, power, and a sound mind. And after about 10 minutes of getting my head together, I said, I'm going to beat this.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I did. And I beat it from a holistic approach.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. So, okay, so this can be used if they have it, if they have the flu, if they have a cough or a cold, even to prevent things like
Right.
that, because you said you take
The
it every
major
day.
preventative.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So preventative as well. Wow. To me, this is an amazing talk. Thank you guys so much for being on the show, Mr. Martin, Nikki.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
guys. Thank you
Right.
so much for your testimony,
Thank
Nikki.
you.
I am so happy that you are here and that we are
Thank
talking
you.
because I kind of get to know Nikki. She's kind of cool.
Right.
She's kind of cool.
I'm so glad because you know what? I have a friend who's diabetic and she ordered it and she's fine. It doesn't matter if you have diabetes or not. It doesn't,
Really great for
you can
diabetics.
it works against the issues that cause diabetes. Can
Oh,
you
wow.
imagine? Yeah, it's insane. Super
Wow,
powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
you guys,
it's really
if you
powerful.
wow. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and put the website up again and go ahead and go to this website, progressingbodies.com, and ask any question you want. Mr. Martin is there and he can answer anything you have. And I'm sure if he can't, then he'll find a way to answer it because that's how I do it.
Right.
That's how I do it. And if you have any questions and I haven't seen your questions, if I didn't get to your questions during this live take, please forgive us. We're going to be keeping our eye out on all of the questions on every platform so that way we can keep up with you. And again, the best place to go is to progressingbodies.com to ask any questions that you may have. Try the product, see if it works for you. And, hey, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there is a special going on. So that'll be great too. So maybe you might want to get more than one bottle, but that's up to you. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. It's been
My
amazing.
pleasure.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And thank you guys so much. And don't forget to dare to be different. Go to progressingbodies.com and check it out for yourself. Let me know how it goes, okay? And leave any comments there in the comment section. Until next time, guys. Hey, you two, don't go anywhere, okay? But you guys got to go because we got another show for you. So hang tight. We'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere.